Travis Wayne Goodsell. Today is Christian Pentecost, 50 days after Easter. It is not the Jewish version because it's not Christian. Today at 4 p.m., Nelson is going to drive down the freeway to the Syracuse Temple and put his hands on the Ark of the Covenant. On May 1st, 1983, there was a two-part mini-series on television. I had just turned 13 years old, and from that moment on, 13 became my favorite number. Despite the cursing. The first marriage was on Friday the 13th. The second marriage was in room number 13 of the Salt Lake Temple. Somebody was trying to remind me of something, I think. Nonetheless. And so for baseball, I tried to make sure that I had the number 13. And I don't remember the birthday. I don't remember what was done or whatever. I know I got screwed somehow. But the TV show was V. Now there's a big debate in school as to whether it meant victory or visitors. It's both if you watch the show. But the spray painting of V meant victory. Come on, guys. Pay attention. Pay attention. In the show, space alien lizards using human skin invaded Earth and pretended to be their friends so that they can round them up and eat them. And there was a scene in which an elderly couple were survivors of the Jewish Holocaust of Nazi Germany in World War II. And the man was scripted to warn the people of the same patterns that led to the Jewish Holocaust, the visitors. And so he ended up joining the resistance and would be assassinated, along with the wife, who likewise would get caught and be assassinated. As the next year, on the 26th of October, 1984, which I'm pretty sure was the first week of school, could have been September, last week of September. So it was during school, when we started school that term. I was now 14 years old, I was now a teacher. And so every day after an episode each week, that would be all we talked about. And because there wasn't much else on, you had 3 channels to choose from. You know, I'm not sure when cable started, which high school year it started, but you had to purchase cable, because otherwise you could only find it on the other signals if you had a certain TV. You sort of see it. It was a little fuzzy. Little fuzzy. Little fuzzy. So Steven Spielberg is a Jew. Did Schindler's List about the Jewish Holocaust, and Schindler's List to save the Jews, to deport them from Nazi Germany rather than being holocausted in the gas chambers. He also did a TV series, Falling Skies. Skies are falling. Similar to V of an alien invasion from outer space. Falling to Earth. Spielberg, as a Jew, is writing in the learning of the Jew, not the Christian, even though one of the female characters was a blatantly outward professing Catholic. Very annoying. Trying to steal a girlfriend who then would be captured and harnessed and then returned and then cheat on him with the brother and run away. Oh my God. Drama, drama, drama. Drama, drama, drama. What is it with women? Why can't they commit? They just use men, throw them away, add them to the notch on their bedposts. Women just can't commit. Can't commit. So, Islam is celebrating their big holy days. Tomorrow is the final day, where they all gather around the Borg cube, which is believed to have come from a falling star. So they all get radioactivated. You won't like us if we get angry. Don't make us angry. We have gamma rays. I didn't know they made them in red. Which then leads us to George Lucas, where Harrison Ford would be in both Star Wars and Indiana Jones. According to Adam Sandler's dreidel song, Harrison Ford is Jewish, at least half Jewish, or quarter Jewish. Which one was not too shabby? But Star Wars is about a race of people from outer space. And they're lizard people and all kind of creature people, not just humans. in outer space, and the fall to the empire, the creation, therefore, of the resistance republic. And so, yeah, government being taken over by authoritarianism, very obviously seen there by George Lucas. The rise of a Hitler empire, because George Lucas is a Jew. And so the Schwartz is not Christian spirit. And yet Mormons love to pull a Christian on the Jews. As on my mission, oh yeah, the Schwartz is just like the spirit. See, when I tried to merge Mormon Christianity with Jewish television, I mean literal history documents, so says Galaxy Quest, let's get out of here before one of them kills Guy. It's all true, I know it. I couldn't make it work. Couldn't figure it out. I would eventually learn Hebrew, biblical Hebrew. And so, yeah, I caught on. Oh, Amidala. Yeah, handmaid. Got it. Anakin. Jedi. Got it. Sith. Ah, yeah, Sith. Yep. I'm making these connections. As Jewish. Now it was making sense. Mormon Christian, not making sense. There's some problems. There's some issues. Battlestar Galactica, though, using Mormon and Christian. Oh, wow, this is if somebody who's Mormon wrote this. Yeah, wow. Battlestar Galactica. So cool. The lizard alien leader is Lucifer. Or actually, that was a robot. AI robot. But there is an alien lizard creature as the enemy leader of the Cylons. The Cylon AI robot drones rising up. And there was Armageddon. And then the colonies, after the names of the different planets, which were constellations. But the 12 in the council, and the Judas, Baltar. Yeah, I was catching on to all of that. So I wonder if Glenn A. Larson might have been Mormon. It would make all sense if he is Mormon. He's dead now. And yes, he was Mormon. That's why he wrote Battlestar Galactica as he did. And then 1980, oh my hell, what the hell were you thinking? Dr. Zaius. Starbucks child, but not. Just the woman on the planet who's immaculately conceived with Dr. Zaius. Zaius? I thought it was Dr. Z. Oh, right, Simpsons. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. The play performance in The Simpsons. See, Simpsons is cultured. But George Lucas also did Indiana Jones. And of course, Indiana Jones does battle with the Nazis. That's the whole thing with Indiana Jones. The Nazis are the villains. Because George Lucas is a Jew. And so we were all calling it, except for the obsessed geeks. No, it's not. Indiana Jones and the Temple of, in the Last Crusade. Or no, oh my God, Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're doing Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. We were being told, no, it's just Raiders of the Lost Ark. So now it's official. It's now Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. The title has been changed because everybody was saying it was changed. He caved. It's no longer Raiders of the Lost Ark. So now when you go into your video rental, oh right, they're gone. Blockbuster used algorithms and destroyed themselves with it. The rise of the AI algorithm. They rose up and destroyed Blockbuster. But nonetheless, in The Last Crusade, he gets to the cave where there's a Knights Templar who is commissioned with guarding the Holy Grail. So there's all kinds of grails. And you have to drink from the right one, or you chose wrong. And so Indiana Jones was pure of heart and just wanted to save Daddy, James Bond. Bond. James Bond. The original of the movie series of the Broccoli family. Don't even get me going on that one. Oh, I was upset with Daniel Craig. And they brilliantly scripted him. So much to the point where I cannot watch the final movie. And then they put Superman for the new Bond. And again, Superman, Jewish, from outer space, gets his power from the sun of the House of El. So emotional for me. But who is the one who chose wrong in the movie? The Christian. All Christians missed that, apparently. Or it could have been that nobody really liked that show as much. Despite Sean Connery. Hilarious. But the Holy Grail with the Knights Templar and Friday the 13th. Hey, that's this Friday. That's interesting. I still need to get the thumbnail picture or the the snapshot from my rockin' a hat for that. The symbol for the Knights Templar is the cross. So Christians believe it. They were Christian, despite the lore of what happened concerning Friday the 13th. But the cross, even though it's portrayed as a T in pictures for their suit of armor and their shield, is actually the cross with the crown. The cross is the Chi. And so if you know of the creation of Christianity by Roman Emperor Constantine, he claimed that he saw the Cairo in the heavens. Falling skies. Oh no, don't drink. You're a Christian, you're not authorized. Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant, you're a Nazi. You're not authorized to touch the Ark of the Covenant. You'll melt. And lots of Christian tradwives were upset of the graphic nature of a mannequin melting on movie screens. I don't want my kids seeing this kind of graphic nature. Well, your kids are doing it with the microwave and Barbie. Not me, of course. I wasn't allowed to have female dolls, and so I had to go knock on my door to borrow my sister's fashion plates. It was the closest I could get to Barbie. All the other guys played with men dolls, I mean action figures. Right, Dark Helmet? And apparently all of them turned gay. Just not me. Interesting. I played with girl dolls. I didn't turn gay. The guys who were homophobic turned gay, playing with men dolls. I mean action figures. Weird. What's up with it? They were going in talking with psychologists. Interesting. Helping them out of the closet. Helping them out of the closet. And so the symbol is a variation of the Cairo, but the row is the crown, and there's no body for the crown. It's just there at the base below the other X line. And there's the insignia in Latin, in hoc signo vinces. in this sign, you will win. They're protecting the Holy Grail that Christians can't touch, similar to the Cairo of Constantine, and it's a sign. So, lore of the Knights Templar is that a pope commissioned a group of knights to go to Jerusalem. They went to Jerusalem. They were doing archaeological digging underneath the Jerusalem temple. It's Jewish. They found something. They rushed back and met with the Pope in a sealed room. Nobody was allowed in. This was a private meeting. Nobody knows what happened, but the consequences is that the Pope made them official guardians of pilgrimages to Jerusalem. And the Knights Templar became exceedingly rich as a monopoly for those being escorted to Jerusalem, because they need food, clothing, shelter, other provisions for the journey. And they could only buy them from the Knights Templar, similar to buying a travel package to visit Jerusalem. University of Utah used to do it. Not anymore. I wonder why. There were Mormons who would go get a tour. This is where Mormon Jesus was crucified. This is where Mormon Jesus was born. This is where Mormon Jesus was whipped. This is where Mormon Jesus overthrew the tithing changers at the temple. They weren't putting the tithing in the storehouses. They were hoarding the money. And so Jesus whipped them good. Da-da-da-da-da. And so the Knights Templar became a threat to the papacy, which Pope only means bishop. That's as far as his authority goes. He's the head bishop of bishops. And that's a lowly position. He's not even a member of the 12, let alone the keys of the head of the church for the Jewish Christ. Right, Mormons? Man like Moses, Jewish Christ. And so the Pope, in league with, I think of the King of Spain, can't remember, but one of the kings, conspired to overthrow the Knights Templar. Round them up and inquisition them to deny the faith and convert to Christianity and confess that Jesus is the Christ, or be burned and tortured. And so, yeah, on Friday the 13th, which was Thursday in the Julian calendar, they struck and scattered the Knights Templar, just like the homeless here in Utah under Operation Rio Grande. Mission accomplished, complete and utter failure. There was the leader who was burned like a Benedict. You know that? Where do you think they got the cross burnings from with the KKK? And there was a group of Knights Templars who apparently had the Egyptian gold plates found at the base of the Temple of Jerusalem, for which they had notified the Pope, as the other Pope of Friday the 13th accused them of worshiping Beelzebub as the gods of the Egyptians from Egyptian gold plates. Oh, that's similar to Joseph Smith and the golden plates. Oh my God. They went up to one of the islands off of Nederlanders, where all the girls wore those so adorable, cute dresses of tradition and culture. And they hitched a ride with the Vikings to America, United States of America and Canada. As there's a well in New Brunswick that the Knights Templar built, and then get down to a certain level, and the Knights Templar leave a warning message: don't go beyond this point. And somebody went beyond the point, and it flooded. It's a trap. And then, is it South Carolina, where there's another designated spot for the Knights Templar? But then the Kensington Stone of the Mandan Indian tribe, right there at the borders of the Dakotas and Wisconsin. 1363, according to the Rune Knights Templar language, in which they bought the land of the eastern United States of America. And after that purchase, the natives there in southern Illinois up and disappeared. They were the sun people of the sun god at the Sun City, with the Sun King offering sacrifices, human sacrifices. And they disappear. And then the Knights Templar arrive and bury the Egyptian gold plates in the ground of the caves in southern Illinois. In this sign, you will have victory. You will win. Not victory. Similar victory, but not. The Holy Grail. Da Vinci Code. The blood line. (21st of August, 2017). The sign of the death of the sun god at noonday Emmanuel, crossed or passed over, shall we say, 7 cities of Salem. Peace of the Jews. "14th of October, 2023. Another passing over of the death of the sun god at noonday, Emmanuel, over Utah, and then down by Crossroads County, Texas. I can't find Crossroads County on the map, Travis. Really? What is there? I can't find it, Travis. Travis? You're years too late for Levi's jeans for women. That was the most awesomest commercial, even being teased at school. Women's fashion. And then 8 April 2024. Crossing, passing over both Crossroads County, Texas, but also 21st of August 2017. In this sign, you will win the Holy Grail. X marks the spot for the new Salem, New Jerusalem. And I'm sure it's just a coincidence. '21st of August 2017, passed over Independence, Missouri, as well as Adam-on-Diamond. Not just crossing at Southern Illinois. Then Utah for the 14th of October, 2023. 8 April 2024, passed over Manchester, New York, and Kirtland, Ohio. As well as the Canandaigua Lodge, south of Manchester Farm. I am the only Mormon, I am the only person who knows that information, and have been telling you about it, that in this sign you will win, because Joseph Smith warned you. When he got the Egyptian papyri, he selected 3 hieroglyphs as facsimiles, and he put them in that order. Facsimile number 1, lion couch, 21st of August 2017. Facsimile number 2, the hypocephalus, the annular solar eclipse of Virgo, 14th October 2023. And then the wedding supper feast, Prince becoming the king, 8 April 2024. Revelation 19. As well as the Sun King, Samson. Killing the lion. Oh, death of a lion. 21st of August, 2017. The burning of his first wife. 14th October, 2023. Bye-bye, Ballard. Bye-bye. And then, both he and the great and abominable church at the temple both died. 8 April 2024. The eclipse was on the back of the white horse. Jupiter, the man-child of Revelation chapter 12, was in Aries, the ram-lamb sacrificial constellation. In Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, in the Joseph Smith translation, we have the addition of a sign in the heavens and a likeness of things on the earth. It's not just about a sign. It's about the coming of the Christ. And in that particular passage, Jupiter is the celestial representation of the Jewish Christ of the latter days. So verse 7, yeah, there it is, confirmed. Jupiter is the Christ. Virgo is the church. Out of the church will come the human, mortal, Jewish Christ, Messiah, Ben, David, the Holy Grail, the blood line. So there's no space alien falling to Earth, raping his 14-year-old daughter for Roman period rape baby Jesus. That is not a bloodline from King David. How did you botch that one? So, the sign in the heavens for today Syracuse at Gemini, Castor and Pollux. Jupiter is Syracuse, the man-child, the Jewish Christ. And today, he is with Mercury, the messenger of the gods. So expect that the Jewish Christ will give a message to Mormons. Who is this Jewish Christ, Travis? Is it Netanyahu? Ha! It's for Mormons, you dumbass. Mormons. And so, the sun, Emmanuel, is between the horns of Taurus the bull for the transfer of authority from the king to the prince to be the king. Or In the words of Marlon Brando in Superman, the father becomes the son becomes the father. Venus, this morning, as it has been for quite a while now, is rising in the east before the rising of the sun. And as Venus rises to ascend to the position at noonday, it just doesn't quite make it, because the sun rises and causes it to magically disappear. Where's Venus? Where's it? Where'd it go? Peekaboo. I don't see you, Venus. Where are you? It fails to ascend. In the Latin Vulgate only, the author added into Isaiah, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning." Venus. In Latin, Lucifer is light bearer. And Uchtdorf, in October 2017, said all of the Aaronic priesthood brethren are bearers of light. Nobody appreciated that great classic. Yep. Mars and Venus got together, and the stork brought them a baby, because we can't talk about sex ed to kids. And he was named Lucifer of the Roman pantheon. And so, woman is the church. Venus is woman. As the bride, she is the church of Lucifer. Therefore, her husband, Mars, is Lucifer. She has just passed over the parted waters and is nearing the beginning of Aries, the ram-lamb sacrificial constellation, which we just had the peak falling stars at the rump roast. And there's Venus, the falling star at the front roast. The moon is at the top of the scales of Libra as the judge. The moon is the religion. Sun is government, Emmanuel. Husband, wife, religion. From the ancient Egyptians. The eyes of Horus, the Christ of the Egyptians, which in Egyptian is translated into English as seer. in the tail of serpents are 3 falling stars. Then Mars, having already been at the mouth of Leo the lion, back when the moon was there in conjunction, is making his way back to Regulus, the king star, where the 21st of August 2017 occurred. Interesting. And Nelson thinks he's going to touch the Ark of the Covenant today, huh? Russell Marion, baby name meaning Mars, not Jupiter. Nelson is not the head of the church. And he's going to touch the Ark of the Covenant. Will it be today when he melts and Mormon housewife tradwives will get offended with how graphically he melts as a mannequin? If only we had a PG-13 rating system. Wouldn't you know it, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom crossed that line and became the first to be issued the new designation of PG-13. Mormons were now conflicted. Well, it's not R-rated. But it is pretty bad with that one scene. If only we could cut it out, just like they do at Rick's College. Then it will be fine. Also of interest, Hercules, the legendary journeys, Babe Watch BC. All of those women in their fashion we have I'm very curious, also the Hydra is at the foot of Hercules battling the Hydra, and then Artaxerxes, whatever, they're at the head of him with his spear. But yeah, it's the Herculids, the T Herculids, technically. T Herculids, huh? You don't say. You don't say. So, Acts chapter 1. Jesus doesn't minister for 40 days. This is the former treatise have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Jesus began both to do and teach. He's summarizing. This is what you're supposed to do as a teacher. Refer to the previous lesson to sum it up so that you can then lead into the next lesson. That's why it's important to only have one teacher for Sunday school and not share with somebody who doesn't know the subject matter and just reads from the manual that doesn't refer to the previous lesson. Always pissed me off because the other person always screwed things up so that I had to then cover the previous 2 lessons, not just the one. If I want something done right, I need to do it myself. The manuals need to be fixed. Are you teaching this, people, or not? Okay, not. And so this is what he's doing. The author, who's a Jew, of Acts is referring to other scriptures about a guy named Jesus. But again, in the sign, you will have victory. You will win. Oh my God, I keep putting victory. Because the screwing me up. And so, ministers for 40 days after his resurrection? Well, the Jesus guy starts his ministry with a 40-day fast. That's an interesting parallel. And he meets Lucifer, Mars, at the top of the mountain. Utah, Judea, phonetically the same. Judah, Utah, top of the mountain. Huh. Jesus is born where? Top of the mountain? Judah, Judea? Is he born from Revelation chapter 12? Verses 1, 2, and 5. The Joseph Smith translation moves to verse 3. They know the date. Or is it the start of the ministry, where he then assigns 12? Oh, look. After his resurrection, the 12 bear witness in Jerusalem. 12, huh? Revelation chapter 12, the 12 stars, the 12. But Judas is the betrayer, and so he quickly fixes this, where he has Jesus ascend into heaven, and then Matthias fills the vacancy of the 12. And James, the brother of Jesus, takes over as the head of the church. James comes from Jacob, usurper. Jesus is dead. We're waiting for the latter-day coming, the resurrection, the second direction, restoring the original church of the one who's assassinated by the enemy who usurped the church. And 12, symbolic for the date of the coming of Matthias. Are you sure? Are you sure? And Matthew, Matthias, kata Matthion, kata Marcus, kata Lucas, kata Ionas. You have Matthew telling us that he's going to give the genealogy, the bloodline, seed, egg, baby. You chose wrong. Christians, of a guy named Jesus, and then calls him Messiah ben David. And so you see King David in the list. You don't see Heavenly Father. You see Joseph. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be Jesus. Joseph is then told in a dream by a messenger that, hey, your fiance got knocked up by some other guy. Don't divorce her. Don't send her back to the temple for a refund. But name the child Jesus, because thus saith the prophet. We're not told who this prophet is. A virgin shall conceive, still be a virgin, and shall call his name, and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. And a Christian added crap in there. Get rid of that. Sun God at noonday. Amen. Emmanuel. Sun God of the Egyptians at noonday. Oh no, who is this prophet that Matthew is talking about? How will we ever know? Well, it's in the Book of Mormon too. It's also from Isaiah. Not just the name of Lucifer, of Mars. Matthew filling the vacancy is about the new leadership, the transfer of authority. Matthew's book talks about the coming of the Jewish Christ, Emmanuel, and says his name is going to be Jesus because of the prophecy, of whom we have no clue who it could possibly be. And it's Isaiah, which Isaiah in Hebrew is Shua, salvation, Yah, the Hebrew God. Jesus, Joshua in Hebrew, is Yah, the Hebrew God, of Shua, salvation. Of interest, the moon today, at the top of the scales of judgment for religion, is in its 12th day from being a new moon. 12. Pentecost. 12. Gather in Zion, the new Jerusalem, after the church is second erected. Of those in Utah. After an exodus, passing over. The shape of the 3 solar eclipses over the United States of America form the first and last letter of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet. The A on its side and the X, Chi. The word in Paleo Hebrew is for sign. Add an extra X and it becomes signs. Wouldn't you know it, it's Isaiah, of whom the prophet is that Matthew is speaking of. And there's something in there that Matthew did not put in, but then put it in the story version. Let's see if you can catch it. You gotta listen. Hear the words of the message. Verse 13, Isaiah chapter 7. And he said, Hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men? But will you weary my God also? Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. There it is. There's the sign. The word sign in Paleo Hebrew is the 3 solar eclipses over the United States of America from the start of his ministry, with that date from Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. Move to verse 3 in the Joseph Smith translation, as this is the start of the ministry, the 23rd of September, 2017. When the women of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were finally allowed to have their meeting be a part of General Conference. For the first and last time ever. As Nelson would make October for the women's session on Saturday evening. Doing away with priesthood sessions. Doing away with the high priest group. Making them elders. Demoting them to just an elder. Hilarious. And I can go on and 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 on. But we'll end with the blatantly obvious that all Mormons miss. And again, the duty of the president of the office of the high priesthood, section 107, verses 91 and 92, is to preside over the whole church. This is Joseph Smith, in case you didn't know. And to be like unto Moses. And so you would expect that they would know to footnote to Deuteronomy 18, verse 15 through 19. The Jewish Christ, the man like Moses of the future. In the Jewish law called Deuteronomy, where the Jewish 10 Commandments are in chapter 5, about the man like Moses, who's the Christ of the Jews. In the Torah, which Christians call the 5 books of Moses, which they're not. The author was not Moses. And Genesis doesn't even talk about Moses. Yet, it is the teachings. And so Joseph Smith, as the Christ, who is Messiah ben Joseph, to prepare Mormons for the coming of the Mormon who would be the Christ, to start his ministry in Utah on the 23rd of September 2017, where the Jewish sign of the Jewish Christ Emmanuel as a sign in the heavens, casting a shadow on earth, Passovering Mormon sites, is a seer having visions, dreams, not literal histories. Does Joseph Smith have these? Why, yes, he does. The first, second, even Kirtland Temple on the third day of Passover, which just happened to be Easter that year. So Mormons get confused. And who came to Joseph? Why, the Jewish God Yah. Oh, you just think Elijah is literal history and not the name of God? So you probably believe that Samuel is not the name of God. Yeah, Jehovah. I am that I am. Purim 2025 did the videos. Then Moses. The keys of the gathering for the Exodus. The Christ. And then Elishua. That's an error in the text, because it's the Gospel of Abraham. Go to the book of Abraham. Oh, the Gospel of Salvation. So it's the God of salvation. Elishua. Who also does a thing with Elijah, with mantles and parting of the Jordan River, and passing through on dry ground. Did that video this year too. And then the God Yah from Malachi, the messenger that the second vision talks about. Joseph Smith is a seer. A revelator. Mormon, chapter 8, verse 33. The Book of Mormon contains revelations, times, dates, days and hours. The beginning of the Book of Mormon, Lehi, a prophet, has a vision dream and receives the revelation date of the 23rd of September 2017 and begins his ministry to Jews? And then Exodus's 600 years from 597 BCE for 4 CE. Abraham sacrificing Isaac in Utah. April 4 CE. Translator, why didn't they footnote this? Why don't any of the living prophets of Jesus claim the gift as a title, denying the gift of translator? Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. They both need to be deciphered. Yeah, even Egyptian. Egyptologists only know the learning of the Greeks in the language of the Egyptians because of the Rosetta Stone. That's why some of the facsimiles are not found in a sign list. And prophet, predicting the future. Sign in the heaven, revelator. Likeness of things on the earth, future prediction. For a seer. A seer is a prophet and a revelator who has seer stones in a hat to translate Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian by that gift and power of God. So is Nelson a seer? Nope. He doesn't even claim the title of Moses. He claims the Peter, James, and John keys, which are only the keys of the apostles who are to spread the word of the seer, the head of the church, the Christ, only his words, and the words of the Book of Mormon about the Jewish Christ who is to come. They are not to preach their own doctrine. They are not the head of the church. And yet, Nelson has the wrong keys and deceives Mormons. Nelson is not a seer. He did claim that he had murdered 2 girls on his altar, and then after the wife died, he came to the old man who was left and said, "Your daughters came to me," literal history true, and said that you need to join the church and pay the money to save your daughters, or they will rot in hell for the rest of eternity. That doesn't sound like a true church. So no, Nelson does not have visions and dreams. Does he give the day and the hours of the second coming of Jesus? In the coming days, in the coming day, in the coming days, in the coming day. Oh no, I don't know the day or the hour now. Nope, not a revelator. What about a translator? Doesn't even claim the title. Does not have the gift. Botching Israel. Prophet, predicting the future. Church's official statement is, we will never predict the future. There have been lots of false Christs predicting the future. None of them were true. And yet, the latter-day Christ of Mormons, with the keys of Moses for the Exodus, who is a seer, is a revelator, is a translator, which means he has to decipher Paleo-Hebrew and the learning of the Egyptians and the language of the Egyptians, and he is a prophet, having all the gifts of God which he bestows upon only the head of the church, Mormons. All you had to do was run the test. You chose wrong.